Hello, and welcome to the FEMpower You podcast, where we discuss topics that help empower women personally, professionally, and financially. I'm your host, Sibongile Ngako, and for today's episode, I am so excited to be joined by Nancy Picard. So let's move on to another area of empowerment, which is this idea of boundaries. What are healthy boundaries, and how do you help women in your work to set those healthy boundaries and maintain them?
So I love the conversation around boundaries. Everyone's a little bit like, ooh, boundaries. I don't know. If I set boundaries, people will leave me. They won't love me. My needs won't get met. And boundaries are really the delineation between where you end and somebody else begins, and what you will and will not tolerate, and what's acceptable and not acceptable. And that starts with you. So what is no longer acceptable in you? What will you no longer tolerate? Are you going to stop tolerating not living big? Are you going to stop tolerating not taking care of how you eat, or when you go to sleep, or how much you exercise, or how much you'll overwork, and your whole balance? Boundaries starts with you, and it's about setting healthy boundaries with you. What is the most self-honoring thing you can do every day for you? And once you get those boundaries set, then you get to move out and see, all right, where do I need boundaries in my life, in my professional life, in my work life, in my my romantic life, in my family life? And if you have any kind of guilt or any kind of anger or sadness or discouragement, if you overwhelm, those are all red signals that you have boundaries that are being crossed. And so look to see what's making you angry, what's making you sad, where are your needs not being met? And then the most important thing about boundaries is that if you don't state what your needs are, you can't expect anybody else to do so. So if your needs are not being met, you may not even know what those needs are. And even if you do, you don't express them. So setting healthy boundaries starts with saying what you want with ease and grace and flow. So you make it about you and not the other person. I feel X when you do Y. Now I've made it about me. I'm not even saying you're doing something wrong. I'm just saying I feel disrespected. I feel angry. I feel sad when you do X. Would you be willing to do Z? Just like that.
That's right.
So I feel disrespected when you talk over me in a Zoom session. Would you be willing to wait till I'm done speaking? I feel disrespected when you leave the dishes in the sink. Would you be willing to just put them in the dishwasher? Seems like a simple request, right? So when I work with people, I do like a whole 12 series on just boundaries. And they're so afraid that people won't love them anymore, or that people are going to get angry. And number one, it almost never happens, because people, when you state what you need in a really well thought out way, people want to please you. They don't even know you needed those things because you never made your own needs a priority.
That's right.
And if you are feeling overwhelmed and depleted, it's pretty likely that you are saying yes when your inside is saying no, no, no. And so that's setting a boundary. I will no longer say yes unless it's like a yes, a hell yes, right? If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And the no is supporting you. And you can even say, I'm saying yes to you, but I'm saying no to going to that, or I'm saying no to doing the thing you're asking me to. I wish, I'm just not available to do that at this time.
Right. That's so interesting. I mean, there is something about how you described boundaries as being, where you begin and another person ends, or vice versa. that gave me the literal image of someone encroaching on my territory, where my territory is my kind of physical, mental, emotional well-being.
Right.
So it's great imagery. But what's also interesting to me is how much of it, again, comes down to worth, to empowerment, to feeling worthy enough to make these requests of people in our lives, whether personal or professional, and feeling empowered to express when there's encroachment, let's call it, on our boundaries. And so much of it, again, comes to identifying what those boundaries are. Sometimes you know that you're sad, you know that you're depressed, you know that you're frustrated, you're angry, but really pinpointing to what is the breakdown that's happening? What are the boundaries that are being breached that are causing us to feel that way? Gives us the vocabulary and gives us the awareness to then express it to other people in our lives.